Good morning, Yonkers Voice. Today is a great day for multiple reasons. The weather is nice, and Christine Peter is with us. And Christine, it's important to have the right information. So we're going to go on, but first, do a little introduction of yourself. So people who are watching, everybody knows you, but we always get new people. Tell them who you are.
I'm Christine Peters. I'm somebody who grew up in Yonkers. I went through the Yonkers public schools. I then went on to college, grad school, and now I'm choosing to raise my daughter here. I'm somebody who's sort of engaged in, local government, and I'm really somebody who loves my community and wants to do as much as I can to help everybody better understand the various systems so that we can advocate for our needs to better get met.
Christina, before we go much further, I always make this disclaimer, but sometimes, once in a while I forget. Not intentionally, but because I think that everybody already knows. You're going to see me typing here and there. It's not because I'm being disrespectful to you. It's because this is live streaming, and people are asking questions, and I might say, listen, this is not a question for this moment, so I'm engaging with the audience. It's not because I'm ignoring you.
Okay.
Politics. Personally, I don't like politics. I gotta be honest. Okay, it's not my thing. I like the chasing the police, the fire trucks, whatever. That's what I like. Give people a platform to speak. Like now, you are having a platform to speak. But politics is not among the things that I enjoy. But I realize that it's an important thing that people should know and should be aware of how things work. And that's where you come into, because you are a person that you love politics, and I think. But you like information. You like to tell people about the system, what you need to do, explain how things work. Am I correct, or maybe you want to correct me on a couple of things?
Well, first I want to thank you for having me on. I'm somebody who likes government because government affects our lives every day. Politics just happens to be one of the aspects of government. It's how people get into these government positions. So because of that reason, I like politics so that I can support and help the right people get into government and make changes for us.
How do we get in politics? Let's say I'm a young guy, and or maybe I'm not young, but I want to get in politics. Something that has been in the back of my mind. I want to serve my people. I want to get involved. I want to do the best for my community. That is steps. Correct?
Yes.
How do we get involved? Oh, don't go too far. Before we go much further, I want to make sure that this is not any type of political endorsement. Christine Peters is not here, on behalf of any political party. She's here to inform, to let you guys know, okay, how things work. What is politics? What is governance?
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, well, first things first, there's different pathways to sort of get into public office, right? So you can go through a party or you can go by yourself. If you choose to go through a party, then you have a group that's supporting you, and it makes it easier for you to get into office, basically. So I'm here today to sort of talk to people about how they can get into a party, a political party, which is that group access to run for office.
How do we get into a party?
So you become a district leader, which is a county committee person. You have to go knock on people's doors, get their signatures, and then that qualifies you to be on the ballot. And then people vote for you if there's a primary. So a county committee person is basically, you're a local member of the political party, and you can vote in your local party sort of elections, and you decide who's
Christine,
the endorsed member.
I think we have a spy here because I can see this thing fly.
Yeah.
Kill it.
You're basically voting for the local endorsement for a candidate, and that local endorsement then gets you support so that you could get financial support, you could get people helping to make phone calls on your behalf, you can have just various supports to be able to get into office.
Now let's talk about the basics. Lots of people, they just go and vote, but they don't understand the differences of voting systems, meaning there is a primary, there is a general election. They don't know what is the primary. you care to explain, because this today it's about informing, it's about
Right.
teaching, it's about sharing, as you said, information.
Well, let's start with a couple of things, right? So the first thing is, I think there's a difference between an executive branch and the legislative branch, right, of government. So like the council on a local level is the legislative branch, right? So they come up with legislation, which is laws and policies for us. And the executive branch basically sort of takes all of this stuff and they make sure it happens, right? So they're in charge of sort of executing the budget and the different policies. So that's the first part. So if you want to get into office, you have to decide which branch you want to be a part of. After that, if you're trying to sort of get into, running for office, what was your question? Sorry, I don't want to veer off too much.
We will talk about the differences between primary, general election, because some people don't know. They just go and vote. But when they go to a primary, they don't know exactly what is it that they're voting for. They think that whatever wins the primary becomes the... Okay?
Right. So the primary versus the general. The primary election is when there's different people competing within a party. So they're competing to get the party's support and wind up on that party line. In Yonkers, there's primarily 4 parties. There's the Yonkers Democratic Party, the Yonkers Republican Party, there's a Conservative Party, and there's a Working Families Party. The Conservative and the Working Families are more minor. The 2 major parties are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. In Yonkers, there tends to be far more registered Democrats. Who goes out to vote is a whole different story, but there's far more registered Democrats. So the primaries is a competition between people within the same party, and then whoever wins that primary gets that line so you can vote for them. And then the general election is a competition between people from different parties who are trying to compete for the same seat.
So guys, in other words, well, I think you all understood. Primary is an election between one party, members of one party. Let's say there is a party A. Christine and I belong to party A. We are running against each other to see who wins, and whoever wins will gain the support of that party.
Right.
Correct?
Accurate, yes.
That's what it is. So it's important, guys, to understand how things work and go and vote. Above all, go out and vote, because just being registered is not good enough.
Right. Going out and voting in both the primary and the general is super duper important, right? Because realistically, if you don't vote, then your voice doesn't matter. And especially on the local level, people can win elections based on 1, 2, 3 votes. So you should vote in definitely the primary and the general in any local election, and any election, really.
Right next town, the mayor's election last time was won by 1 single vote. And it's terrible, because, and we see in Yonkers, elections are won by 14 votes. We are a town of over 200,000 people.
Right.
So now, what is the first step for somebody who wants to get their feet wet on politics? What is the very first thing they should do? Is get in touch with whatever party they feel they are in line with? Is it going to community meetings? What is it? Let's say, educate me.
Okay.
I know nothing about it,
Okay.
and I'm talking to you and say, Christine, I'm inclined to this party or whatever party, and I would like to serve my county, serve my city, serve my district. How do I go about it? Who do I call? Who do I talk to? Where do I go?
So first things first, I think that you should research the different party platforms and see which one aligns with what you believe, right? After you do that, you can call your local party committee. So you could Google that and find that information, and you can contact them. In my video, actually, I put, right now my video works for like the Republican Party, because that's the party that has the county committee members that are running for office. But once you Google it, you can get the contact information, and then you could reach out. But even if you don't get any, call back, you can still go and you can become involved, right? But the first process is also reaching out to members. So you can run into people within the community that are district leaders who are currently district leaders. And usually if you talk to current district leaders, they'll introduce you to party members as well. And if you're, I think like 40 or below for the Republican Party and 35 or below for the Democratic Party, there's also a young Democrats and there's a young Republicans, right? So you can also reach out to the...
What's the difference?
The
Do you know?
differences?
Yeah, between the young... Because I
I
hear about all types of Republicans.
Right,
Young
right.
Republicans, MAGA Republicans, now young Democrats.
Right.
What is it?
What's the difference? So there's really an equity issue, right? So when you're younger, you may not have as many financial resources to go to different events so that you could be involved. And so the young Democrats, the young Republicans, whatever, the young members of the party, it's really to organize to help people to have greater access, to come together, to share resources, to share support so that we can then help elevate the messaging for that specific community.
Now, guys, before we go any further, let me remind you that this interview is sponsored by Dos Marias, 200 New Main Street in Yonkers, the place for the best Mexican food, drinks, whatever. And the place where you can come and make brand new friends, mix and mingles, get to know other ideas, get to know other people. This is a very comfortable and family-oriented place. Come on down. Tuesdays, they have what they called Taco Tuesday. Come on down and enjoy a good evening, good afternoon here at Dos Marias. Also, Get Fresh Yonkers, place for the best hoodies, sweatpants, sneakers, hats, right here in Gary Square. I believe the address is 44 North Broadway. Go and check them out. Okay, we all talk about supporting our local businesses, and I agree, but many of us only talk about supporting our local businesses. That's why I came up with the hashtag saying actions, not words. Put actions to your words. Don't just talk about the good. Don't just talk about the support. Do the good and do the support. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Huh? I came up with that all by myself. I'm getting sharp on these guys. Christine, we're going to have a very, I think, tight election. This year is going to be a hard election. What's your view on that? I don't want to go into any inclination because, guys, I don't support or oppose any political party. I am all about information, giving you the information so you can make the correct decision on who deserves your vote.
Do I think it'll be a tight election? I really think it depends on various factors. I think it depends on which election we're talking about, so I don't really have an opinion about the specific sort of candidates in elections. What I do think is important is this year, so every 2 years you have district leader elections, which is a party position. So that is not going to be tight, actually. I don't think it's going to be tight because most people don't actually know it exists. And that's a party position, right? So those are the sort of like building blocks of the party, and they're the ones that sort of decide who's going to get endorsed for that specific political party. And I think those elections are going to go without any challenges. So that's why I'm sort of here, is to talk about this is a position that anybody in Yonkers who's a registered voter within that party could run for. It doesn't actually take a lot. You literally just knock on your neighbor's doors and you get them to sign a petition, which is on the Board of Elections website. And then once they sign it and you get, the required number, you have to get 5% of the people that basically live in your neighborhood, which it's called an ED, it's an election district, to sign it. I suggest getting 20% because people can challenge signatures. Once you get that, then you get onto the ballot. And then once people vote for you and you win that election, then you become a member of the political party, and then you can help decide who the best candidate is.
It's a very important position.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to become a district leader, who should they contact? The politicians now to collect signatures? You see, I'm very ignorant to politics, and that's why I'm picking on your brain, because that way I learn a little more.
Right.
So people that might be running or collecting signatures now, those are already district leaders, correct?
So If you want to become a district leader, or if you already are a district leader and you want to extend your term, then yes, those are the individuals who will be collecting signatures. They'll start collecting when the Board of Elections decides that date. So right now we don't have the date. Usually it's in late February for the June primary, right? So there's a process where I don't have the date. I don't know if they released the political calendar yet, but basically it's late February. You have your petition, you go knock on your neighbors' doors and you say, hi, I want to run for county committee person. Can you please sign my petition? Which is basically your neighbors giving you permission to run. So then they sign your petition saying that you have their permission to be able to run. And the other way you can get involved really is, if you don't want to run for district leader, if you like a candidate, you can call up that candidate's sort of like committee and say, hey, I want to volunteer for your committee, you know, so you can learn through the candidate and that process. How can I best support you? How can I run for office myself? What are the tools? What are the various things that I need to do so that I can be a successful candidate myself if I want to run someday?
Christina, let's talk a little bit about that video that you released about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And tell people if they want to watch it, because that video is very instructive. You know, it helps a lot to people.
Yeah.
Do you have a channel, a YouTube channel, your webpage channel? Where can we also broadcasted that video, but perhaps we can send the traffic all to Christine, watch, make your comments, speak with her, ask questions. Where does that video reside?
So the video is actually on a Facebook page that I created. It's called For Us by Us Yonkers, because it's I made the video myself, and it's for me to sort of bring greater information to the Yonkers community, because I would love to have a more involved Yonkers community. Currently, there's about 116,000 people, I think, registered to vote out of a city of more than 200,000 people. So, you know, that's about half of the people. And I get there's different generations, there's different ages that don't yet qualify, but we really need to do a better job of getting more people registered to vote, having people understand what their vote means, how it affects their everyday life, you know, and the importance of being aware of the candidates and what they stand for. But you can go to my page, which is For Us by Us Yonkers. The video is on there. People can sort of comment. I respond usually around my schedule, you know, because I work full time, I'm a single parent. So if somebody has any questions, honestly, my email I think is on there as well. People can email me. I can create a new email if people want as well. And for the most part, though, all of the information that you need is on the Board of Elections website. So even if people don't want to reach out to me, you know, all of the information that you would need is on the Board of Elections website. And the video says to ask for specific information that you would need.
For Us by Us Yonkers, all together.
Yeah, yeah.
Check it out. Click the like, the follow, support Christine, get involved, learn, share those positive videos, let people know. I think it's important.
Right. I do want to say also, people right now currently, you already have a local district leader. So, you know, you might want to reach out to that person. You don't necessarily have to run for office, but you might want to share your opinion with that person about how you could see different changes in your specific, you know, neighborhood, what things could be better for you, and talk to your district leader. Having that robust discussion, you know, helps the district leader make better choices for candidates as well.
Because regardless if you like politics or you don't like politics, right, politics will affect your life.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And there's also ward leaders in Yonkers, so basically a whole bunch of district leaders are under a ward leader. You know, it's just sort of like the supervisor of the district leaders, and sometimes those ward leaders go to meetings and make decisions that the district leaders are not a part of. So it's important for you to speak to whoever your local party person is so that they could bring the information back to the party.
Guys, and you know, I never stop emphasizing that voting is important. Talking about issues is equally important, but going out on the election day and casting your vote is of the utmost importance. You cannot change anything unless you vote. And if you're not happy with party A, vote for party B, or vice versa. But make sure you vote. Christine, is there anything else that you'd like to bring up that you think it's important that maybe people need to know? Let's take this opportunity to.
I think it's important for people to register to vote, and choose a party where you feel aligned with that party. You don't necessarily have to be aligned with everything with the party, but if you choose a party that you're mostly aligned with, then it helps you make a decision in that primary, right? So unless you're registered in a party, you can't really affect those primary elections. So it's important to register first and then really pay attention to the candidates. There are all these different candidates that stand for different things, and you want to see what candidate will best suit your needs, not just who the most popular candidate is or which candidate has the most money, so they can sort of get into office. And I think that part is super important.
Since we are talking about information, let me ask you this. Lots of people, they vote on the guy because they know the guy since school, they lived in the same block, he tells funny jokes, but many times they don't vote based on record.
Right.
Okay? How important it is to learn about the fundamentals of the candidate that you are thinking about giving your vote.
So I think it's important to understand also how a candidate can actually affect the change that they're saying. For example, there was a congressional candidate who was talking about keeping taxes low, and I was like, you're going to keep my income taxes low? Like, you're one person out of, 100. I don't understand how you're going to do this. So really understanding what they're campaigning about as opposed to just rhetoric, because that's important to individuals, is important. Understanding what level of government is responsible for what thing. And then on top of that, understanding, is this person meeting my needs? Is this something that I need for myself? Is this something I need for my community? Is this something I need for my family? And if they don't know that, actively reaching out to them to say, here's a gap in services, or there's this issue that you don't recognize. I mostly agree with you with all these other things, but help me understand where you stand on this thing, right? Because there might be a major difference. Like, you might mostly align on all of these smaller issues, but if you have a major difference on a major issue, then maybe that's not the right candidate for you.
Are we done? Or do you think there is more information that we need to give? I don't want to, close the interview and say, oh, we should have said that, I forgot this. Anything else that we think we need to tell the people of Yonkers, those are watching us?
I think really think about whether this district leader position would be something that's important. Think about researching different campaigns and getting involved. I sort of love campaign season just because you get to see who these people are, you get to see what they stand for. And, also ask questions. So, this is my first time on. I'm more than happy to come back and answer questions if people have questions, excuse me. Maybe they could send some questions to you so that it's a more targeted sort of conversation. And even outside of just coming for the interview, I'm more than happy to help people sort of become more involved in a nonpartisan way, right? For me, just getting involved and having a more informed electorate is super important. So even if you want to get in touch with me to get in touch with some of the other minor parties or, a party that I'm not affiliated with, that's totally fine for me too.
So now I'm going to invite you, if you have a guest that maybe you want to bring up to Yonkers Voice, I don't care what party it is, because I'm not party inclined, and I think all the information is important. We give the information to the people, and the people can decide whoever they want to vote for. So if you want to bring a guest, you and the guest, your guest, can sit down here and talk. You are more than welcome to do so. And if you want to come and sit down, at a later time to talk about other issues that you feel are important, that you feel the people of Yonkers needs to know, you are more than welcome to do it as well.
Thank you.
So guys, on that note, we conclude our interview, and I thank you always for watching us. I thank you for supporting us. Yonkers Voice has been doing this for the last 18 years. We did not start yesterday, and we are focused on the things that we feel matters to you. We are not interested in the back and forth, the nonsense. We are interested in addressing the issues that actually impact your life, impact my life, impact our life. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to share this interview. This is the type of stuff that we wish you would share, and so others can learn, others can hear, and others can participate and be informed. This is the stuff that we wish all of you would share, or the majority. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, guys. Until next time. Oh, before we go off, don't forget, tomorrow we have 2 great interviews starting at 10:30. We have Shanae Williams and we have Diane, like Diana Robinson, 10:30 and 11:15. Log on, ask questions. All that we ask is that you present your questions in a polite and respectful way. We don't have to agree with each other, but we must respect each other. Thank you, and until next time.
Thank you.